Troops are back. We're talking Final Fantasy XVI, another non-FF7 video for now. But this is a subject that we've talked about quite a bit on the channel in regards to these exclusive Final Fantasy games potentially coming to other platforms. So anytime that there's information or news, we got to cover it. And what we have here is another interesting quote coming from Yoshi P. Out of PAX East, and Yoshida talking about 16 coming to other platforms. And this is different than the upcoming PC version that we're aware of. So that doesn't leave a lot of options. Other than Xbox, right? There's even him like kind of hinting at that or whatever. He just straight up differentiates other platforms from PC. I find it kind of interesting just because like 16 is not even a year old yet. Now we had the exclusivity I think for 6 months, but that didn't mean that after like 6 months like they were just going to drop it on other platforms right away. Obviously we haven't got on anything else. We know the upcoming PC version obviously, but it's just something I like about Yoshida where he's not like shy to talk about shit. Like even before we even got 16, like before it even came to PS5, right? People were talking about the PC version. He's like, just about on PS5. Don't worry about the PC version right now. Like, confirming there is going to be a PC version at some point, but as of right now, it's going to be on PS5, right? And kind of here, too. Like, we're not even to the PC version yet. He's already talking about the game coming to other platforms, which I just like that. So this is coming from Noisy Pixel's interview with Yoshida. We're just going to read this exchange right here. So it is tough for you and your team to say goodbye to all these characters in this DLC. Of course, the Rising Tide coming up, the last DLC for the game. It's not over in the sense that we have the PC version. Once the PC version is released, we're thinking about hopefully moving to other platforms as well. However, that's not really talking about the story. It's more about moving it onto different platforms. So there is a sense that while the project is still going, there's not that sense of being sad and having to leave them yet. But I'm pretty sure that once everything is released and we moved on to the next project, that'd be the time where it kind of hits us that, oh, it's really over. See, actually going back to something I said previously, like, Xbox isn't like the only thing. Like, I've seen people talk about the game coming to like Mac or something like that, which I'm a console peasant. I don't know the difference between like fucking game coming to PC, game coming to Mac. It's all PC to me, right? But apparently those are other options as well. But if we're talking about a game coming to other platforms that's already on PS5 and already on PC, we're most likely talking about Xbox here, right? And this is something we've talked about a lot in regards to 16, but also the 7 remake project. Now, obviously with the remake project, we haven't come to Xbox yet, but a lot of people have said that if it even happens, it'd probably be after the project's all the way done. And then they could drop the trilogy at some point after the third game comes out, the whole trilogy on Xbox or something like that. And that's probably what it's going to end up being because obviously we haven't got a remake yet on Xbox, and obviously Rebirth isn't coming to Xbox anytime soon. So it's probably what's going to end up happening. Inevitably, it's going to come to Xbox, I would say. It seems like at least with 16 that's going to happen relatively sooner, right? It's going to probably be in the next, I don't know, couple years maybe, if even that. It could be like next year or two that it could come to Xbox. And it's not a surprise, though, because Yoshida was the one that was pushing for 14 to come to Xbox, right? And that finally happened after a lot of years. They were talking about it for a long, long time. I think since like 2018 or some shit. And then it came to Xbox like last year, right? If I'm not mistaken. So it finally happened. So I'm not surprised that Yoshida would want to push and try to get 16 onto Xbox as well. But before too, did a video on it where Phil Spencer like met with like Square Enix and like wants to have like a working relationship with them and stuff. So I'm not surprised again that Yoshida would try to push for things to get to the Xbox platform, which I think it should be. I'm not the biggest fan of exclusives. I get it. I understand it. We all know why exclusives exist. But I just prefer that everybody was able to play a game. And also, besides the money that would be paid for exclusivity, generally speaking, you think you'd make more money by just selling a game on every platform that you can. Now, obviously, there's also development that goes into that. If you're creating a game for one platform, it's a lot easier. We've seen like Hamaguchi talk about that when it came to Rebirth, for example. By just making it for the PS5, it's a lot easier, right? If you had to make it for the Xbox as well and PC all at the same time, it probably would have taken a little bit longer. And then we were talking about like, a while back, dude, like last year before, kind of leading up to 16 and stuff like that. It's just talking about the game coming to Xbox inevitably. There's people that didn't believe it. People didn't want to listen to reason. I'm just like, man, this is Yoshida, dude. He's the one. If 14 of all the games can come to Xbox inevitably, like of course 16, like is gonna happen. 7 remake, at least as of right now, the remake project is kind of an outlier because I think like just about every other Final Fantasy game ever has come to Xbox eventually. Like a lot of them were exclusive for like a couple years or something, like Zodiac Age, I think was like exclusive to PlayStation for like 2 or so years and then came to Xbox eventually. Like World of Final Fantasy was exclusive for a little while, eventually came to Xbox. So eventually they all make their way to the Xbox platform, and sometimes it's a long ass time like 14, sometimes it's a short time. With the remake project, it's going to be quite a long time, it would seem, if it even comes at all. I'm assuming it's going to, but who knows. Yeah, when Yoshida's talking about bringing 16 to other platforms besides PC, I mean, it kind of has to be Xbox, right? There's a time where I guess that could have been Stadia. Not anymore. It's going to not be Switch either. Maybe the Switch 2. A lot of people are doubting the Switch 2. I don't know if we got the specs on it. I don't know. I don't keep up with that shit really, right? But if they wanted to make like a decent console for once, it's not like so far behind the modern consoles, I guess it's possible. I mean, they could also maybe try to dumb it down a little bit where it works on like the Switch 2 or whatever. That's a possibility as well. So I guess like Switch is a possibility potentially. The video's long enough. We had to talk about this. We had to discuss it, of course. It's something that we've talked about quite a bit on this channel in regards to the Final Fantasy games and exclusivity and things like that. It would seem that Yoshida's at least kind of hinting at the possibility of 16 coming to Xbox. What are your thoughts? Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. There's in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DavidYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.